Jake for the State podcast, and this is the call for every red-blooded, God-fearing, liberty-loving patriot to prepare yourself, take your position,
stand your ground,
and advance the cause of freedom. Let's go.
All right, and today we are looking at a story that is heartbreaking here in Oklahoma, but it has a positive ending and a potentially light at the end of the tunnel, because what started as a tragedy might possibly end up in legislation that would save children here in the state of Oklahoma. And here with me today is Jacob Towe. He's the father of little Leo that has inspired Leo's Law, and we're going to get right into the heart of that. Jacob, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for allowing me to share Leo's story and Leo's Law. I appreciate you.
You bet. You bet. Well, thank you for sharing. I know this is never easy to share about the loss of your son, but I do want to get into the meat of the legislation that we're working on. We're seeing this revisited for a second time in the Oklahoma legislature, but I want to talk about how this started and what inspired it. Tell me about what happened with your son, Leo.
So my son, Leo, was born in 2020. He was just the most sweet and precious little guy. He loved Jesus. He loved Minecraft, and Spider-Man was his favorite superhero. I couldn't keep the kid out of water. He just would run to water. It didn't matter. He loved just playing in water, and he just had a kind heart. He was the sweetest little boy I've ever met. And I got a phone call that, while I was in California working, he was with his mom, that he had passed away from a fentanyl poisoning. So, well, I originally got the phone call that he had passed away. I didn't know what happened. And then, when I got the autopsy results back 4 to 6 months later, I figured out it was, a fentanyl poisoning. So his mother was suspected of using, but DHS tested her, but fentanyl wasn't included on the test that she had to take. So as soon as I heard that Leo had actually passed from a fentanyl poisoning, I immediately knew in my head what had to happen here in Oklahoma. I just knew, okay, they need to start adding fentanyl to this, because if they would have tested for fentanyl, then Leo, could possibly still be alive. That he been with her, she was still using fentanyl. She just was a great mom. The drugs and stuff just, got the best of her. Unfortunately, my son as well. So
sorry again for your loss. If we could dig into some of the details here, DHS was involved.
Yes.
How did DHS get involved?
Suspected of using fentanyl, but she, when they gave her the drug test for it, she even admitted to DHS that she used fentanyl and had been using fentanyl. They just, by the time I was working in California, and she did her drug test. So whenever Leo was reunited with her, it was only, 2 to 3 months later, and he had passed away.
Now, did she have full custody of him? Was he in the state custody? What was the situation there?
State, and he was with family for a little bit, and then he was with family, and then whenever he was reunited with his mother is whenever that happened. He was reunited with his mother after she had completed the drug test, but it didn't include fentanyl. So the fentanyl wasn't detected on the drug test. She was reunited custody of him. I was in California working, and shortly after that is when I got that phone call.
So she admitted to using fentanyl, but they still did not test for it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
There's lots of reform that's needed in DHS. It has been a primary topic of conversation with myself, and it will be high on my priority list when I am elected governor of the state, because we need massive reform in DHS, and this just highlights one more layer of reform that's needed. But hopefully, it can come sooner rather than later, because it has inspired you to go to work working on behalf of other children in the state through Leo's Law. So tell me about this.
Well, immediately I just knew. What we just talked about. I just thought, man, if they'd have tested her for fentanyl, there's no telling what would have happened. He would have stayed with other family. I would have went back to Oklahoma or brought him to California. There's no tell. I'll never know. But I just know that it would have been different if they'd actually tested for fentanyl. So I just came up with this idea of Leo's Law, and I made a petition, and I started collecting signatures on it. And it is to require DHS to test for fentanyl if it's involved or suspected in a case. So it's to pretty much add fentanyl to, these drug panels that they're doing, especially if fentanyl is involved in the case specifically. There's no sense that fentanyl shouldn't be tested for before children are reunited with the parents that are suspected of using.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Now, last year, I believe, was the first year that it was run through the Oklahoma legislature. This was Speaker of the House Kyle Hilbert speaking on Leo's Law.
yeah.
So, and I know that you're hard in it as well. Not obviously, we'll never bring Leo back, but it can save future Leos, like he said. Now, what seemed to be the barriers last year in getting this through?
Well, we haven't. This is the first year that it's been introduced.
Oh,
Leo
okay,
passed
okay.
away in 2000. So I got his autopsy results back around the beginning of 2025 last year. So I've been working on it um, a little under a year. But Kyle Hilbert, I collected signatures and my petition, and he was kind enough. The mayor of Bristow, actually, like, she's amazing and was super awesome. She connected me to him, and he decided it was good. And Senator Todd Gallagher. So, they picked it up, and I've just been trying to work on it. And I think that they did an amazing job with the actual language of the bill and some of the other things that it includes to protect children.
No doubt.
But
Now,
this,
I'm curious. I'm curious how this has impacted your view of, obviously, uh, Trump has been working aggressively to close the borders and to prevent any kind of, uh, fentanyl, cocaine, heroin, meth, any of that coming into the states. And I'm curious, has this impacted your view of his efforts, both on the border and even in the Gulf of America?
I'll tell you this, that there's nobody in this household sad whenever a cartel boat gets blown up down there. There's nobody
Mm.
in my family sad about it, because we know the reality of the situation, and we know how many American lives that it's potentially saving. I, you know, I believe that what he's doing is the right thing, because of families like mine and all these other families that I meet. I've traveled from sea to sea, meeting families in Washington, D.C., California, Oklahoma. I've met them from all over the country, and I believe that the Trump administration, we're glad, because even these families that had children pass away in 2019, they were sick and tired. 2020, they were tired of the Biden administration's lack of, their lack to do something about this, while it was such a straight, just a problem. So we're actually really happy that, such a long stance at this, and this administration is doing a great job, in my opinion.
Well, it can't get any more powerful than that. A firsthand testimony regarding the impact of these illegal substances making their way into the United States. I believe that you and your family stand as a testimony as to why this aggressive action is taken, uh, to shut them down, to eliminate them, keep them from bringing that to the shores of America and impacting so many other families. And so, I would agree with you. I'm in support of this effort, this aggressive effort to shut them down. And hey, if it would save more little Leos, and even Leo's mom, those that are impacted, like her, that get addicted, and then it's very difficult for them to get off. Now, then I'm in support of that. So I'd love to get your take on drug reform in general, if you have any thoughts on that, because I know you've probably had a lot of time to think about just drug use in general here in Oklahoma. What other kind of reforms or areas do you think that we should address here in the state?
I think that there needs to be more transparency between law enforcement and DHS, and the other things. I think it's just common sense. Really, is the state of Oklahoma needs a peer recovery program, and I think it's been effective in other states through a lot of my research. It's just where you get certified peers. It's not like your lawyer. It's not the DA. It's just a peer that's like, hey, are you doing okay? Do you need help with this? Do you need help? And they have been through these things. They can help connect you to these resources. I think Oklahoma might, a peer recovery program might be good to do in Oklahoma, because from studies in Arizona and the statistics, it's actually like really, really effective. So I think Oklahoma should potentially give that a try.
Now, is that
And
something that would need to go through a government agency, or is that something that a nonprofit or organization like AA or NA that they could utilize? I mean, how is that typically implemented?
well, typically I would imagine it's just a non-pilot or a non-profit program that does a pilot program in a certain county or something, and then they try to implement it statewide. So I'm sure they'd want to see how it would work at a pilot program in just counties, and then try to do something, for the whole state.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a something into in Oklahoma, because that, and if we just manage the money right, it starts up at the top too. We got to manage the money right and make sure that it's going to programs that are actually helping, and not just businesses that are shut down. We got to actually make sure it's all right.
100%. And, I don't think there's any more worthy investment than in protecting families. And when I look at what is contributing to the breakdown of the nuclear family here in Oklahoma, I think drug use and addiction is right up there at the top. And so, whatever we can do to curb that influence of especially these hardcore drugs like fentanyl, meth, and heroin, and how they are so addictive and contributing to the breakdown and even the breakdown of the family and the death of family members. It's tragic, and I believe it's causing a ripple effect. The trauma from those that addiction and the drug use is rippling through the state, impacting other things, even including education. And so, yeah, 100%, I think we should target this. Now, one of the things I've been speaking out about, I'd love to get your take on it, is a felony offense for first time use. And it can seem very harsh on this outset of that at first glance. But the reason is because if we allow them to continue using and we handcuff law enforcement so they can't actually act, and if this remains a misdemeanor and they're not allowed to bring them in and get them the help they need, then I think that we just help facilitate the problem and prolong the agony. So my thought is, how can we
Too.
create more barriers and get them into treatment as soon as possible? Um,
Yeah, things are changing. The drugs are getting more and more dangerous. I mean, there's nitazines now. There's carfentanil. I mean, a 5-pound bag of that will kill like 200 million people. It's a 5 pound. I wish it's not a lot. It's not a lot at all.
yeah,
It's a weapon of mass destruction. Like, we've all been working on this, and Trump finally did it. We applaud him. Like, he's taking it serious. It's a weapon of mass destruction. It's killing people. So even having that around, people can kill them. They could accidentally touch it and die from this stuff. So it should be taken serious, and it should be a felony for these things. The drugs are only getting stronger and more dangerous.
yeah, 100%. I mean, and the micro amount, and this is widely talked about now, but just the micro amount that is needed with fentanyl to actually kill someone is just staggering. I mean, really the size of a head of a pin needle, the or even
Just,
writing
just
pen, but just
ball
that
out right
not.
there on the tip of that right there, just on the tip of a pin would, kill somebody. Just a grain of
Yeah,
salt or two.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, anything we can do to shut that down, of course, I'm with you. I applaud Trump's efforts in blasting the boats and shutting the border and doing whatever we have to do to keep these bad guys, these criminals, and even accessories to murder out of
Well,
the state, out of the nation. I'm all for it. So, and I'm
people hate
sure,
to admit
especially,
that
go
stuff.
ahead.
People hate to admit it, but other countries really do target America and make that stuff and want to, target America.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, exactly.
China, that's got that deal with China because, they were, sending fentanyl to America through all these other it's just a big mess. And so it has to get shut down because it really is a big problem. Like it's intentionally being brought to America. It's not just accidentally showing up here.
Yep, exactly. Well, we will be tracking this law, Leo's law, this bill. And I guess, like you said, Hilbert in the House and Gallagher in the Senate. Is that right? The ones who are carrying it?
Yes, it's Hilbert in the House and Gallagher in the Senate. I've spoken with many uh, members of the House as well. Chris Banning has been amazing as well.
Yeah.
I've spoken with the House and the Senate, and they've been amazing. So hopefully, I think we can try to do this year. And it's important, serious, needed now. So I think that it's HB 4421. So we're trying
HB
to get that
4421.
4421. Yes, it makes it to where DHS would have to test for fentanyl if it was involved or suspected in a case before the reunification. It's adding a $50 fine for child endangerment cases, including fentanyl, to offset the state cost for the fentanyl test. And it also makes updating and putting fentanyl as included in child endangerment laws and making it the punishments harsher.
Okay.
Child
Also needed. And it is still mind-boggling that it's not already being tested. It's honestly a shame that we have to have a law mandating that. That should be a given, especially if you have someone admitting that they use fentanyl. It should be automatic. So very frustrating, when we see the breakdown in the system and the requirement of legislature and law and the use of taxpayer money to do common sense stuff. So, but hey, I'm glad. I celebrate your efforts and the efforts of the legislature to get things done and hopefully save more lives here in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm not a politician or anything. I'm just a dad that is
Yeah.
angry, upset with this system, and knows it has to be changed in order to protect other children from this in the future. And I think that most people tell them they're surprised it's not already, mandated in those cases. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jacob, I celebrate your efforts. I'm behind this, and we'll be tracking this because I want to see House Bill 4421 make it to the governor's desk and be signed into law. So, hey, God bless you for your efforts. I believe it's going to save a lot of lives here in Oklahoma. And hey, give us an update whenever you get one.
I will. Thank you so much for your time today, Jake. You have a cool name, by the way. But
Hey, thank you.
Your Leo's story and Leo's law. A kid meant the world to me, and I think this will save others.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, God bless you, and we'll be in touch with you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. It's Jacob Towe talking about the tragic, sad story of his son Leo that died through fentanyl overdose at such a young age. And hopefully, this law mandating DHS to test for fentanyl will pass. And again, I think it's something that's common sense. It should have already been done, but hey. If we can get it done now and save lives in the future, that's worth it. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. It's a shorter one today, but be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the show, and I will see you next time.